Okay, you bought yourself a new computer. You decided not to get a touchscreen, which is understandable. It's not necessary. But now you have the start screen you want to be able to navigate around. So we're going to cover some of the keystrokes you can use to navigate around your start screen and some of your other system functions. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the most important screen, which is your Windows key right here. If you just press your Windows key while you're on the start screen, you'll see you'll jump to your desktop. Press it again, you jump back to your start screen. So it's like jumping between your start menu. Your start menu has disappeared now and back again. The difference being is that before when you press, you clicked and you would display your start menu. Now it just stays there. So besides that, there's a couple other commands you can use. Windows E is Explorer key. So you notice you don't have any files on your desktop in up here, so you can get to your files easily. But if you press Windows E, it'll open up a My Computer browsing window. Now I'm going to close this because I already had one open over here, and you'll see that. Let's go back. Now I press Windows E key, and you see it's opened up on My Computer. So that's a quick access to browsing your files. If we go, let me go ahead and bring that back up again for a second because we're going to use it in our next one. If we do the Windows M key, which stands for minimize, you press that, it brings up your desktop and minimizes your applications, whatever is running on the desktop. So again, that was Windows M key. Let's go back and let's go put those back in position. Okay, so let's go back to the start screen. Now if we win D, Windows D, you'll see that we go to the desktop, but we see the desktop, D for desktop. So M for minimize, D for desktop, and you previously saw E for open Explorer up. So this shows your desktop as is. By the way, if you do Windows D while you're here, you can still minimize your desktop. You can toggle between your running applications and show desktop. The next thing we want to cover is the Windows X key. For whatever reason, it shows all your extras or your what used to be your admin menu. And it, by the way, it'll work for either one. X shows your admin menu. Windows R shows your run command on the desktop. It'll do it from either place. If you're on the start screen or here, Windows R shows the run command. The next command is the Windows T command. If we press Windows T, you'll see it brings up the taskbar, and it'll, as you tap it, it toggles through the computers that are on your desktop. Okay, you press your space bar and you'll go to that particular one. Your next one is Windows U for usability. It brings up your usability, ease of access center within your control panel. Not sure how much you're going to use those last two commands. Okay, but now we're going to go to Windows I command. Windows I command brings up, you notice, information about where you're at, and this is those settings for your start screen. If you're in a program, for example, if we're in finance and you press Windows I, it's the information about that. So Windows I depends upon whether or not you're in a program or where you're at. The next command is Windows K, send to devices. It can be used in certain instances, something I wouldn't worry about too much. Next, if we go to the start screen, probably the three commands I find the easiest. Right now, in order to search for stuff, I have to come over here and bring up this menu and say search, and then select one of these here. But if you're in keystroke command and you're anywhere, you can just do, first of all, the Windows F for files. And you notice I'm already on files over here, and I'm searching for files. If I do Windows W command, I'm already doing for Windows. So in other words, Windows settings. F for files, W for Windows settings. And then lastly, if I do Windows Q command, oops, I'm sorry, I'm in finance. Okay. If I go Windows Q command, I'm search for apps. Don't ask me why Q is apps. But anyways, the point of it is that the Windows F, W, and Q automatically target three different areas for searching whether or not you normally would have to click to get there. Next, we want to talk about the Windows Tab key. Now, the Windows Tab key, if you watch Windows Tab, and you keep pressing Tab, it cycles between your running applications. Now, the desktop is considered one application. It does not go between the applications running within your desktop. So it's just between these different windows. So if we go to Finance, it does that. Now let's say you're running in, well, yeah, I won't do that one. Let's put weather on your main screen and then we'll put that to your side split screen over here. So now we do finance in the middle. Notice if we press the tab key and we cycle between things, it switches out the program in the main viewing area, including your desktop in the split screen mode. So again, the Windows tab key does that. Now from there I'm going to jump right over to the Alt tab, which is what you're used to seeing, which is the normal switching of applications. And you notice in this particular one you can switch between desktop applications. There's this File Explorer and there's the Internet Explorer. So you can switch between that one. So if I let go here, I'm focused on Windows Explorer. If I let go here, I'm focused on the computer. So it does the normal task switching. And there, of course, is the desktop by itself. There is another one, Alt-E, which I'm not going to cover too much. It brings up help with certain programs. But let's talk about Alt-F4. Now, Alt-F4 is typically, in previous versions of Windows, been your shutdown for that application. It worked in almost every single application, and it still does on the desktop ones. But when you're in the Windows applications, it may or may not work. For example, if I press Alt-F4 now, Finance should close down because it's the one I'm looking at. I was in Mail editing a email and it closed Mail without prompting me for that. Do I want to save changes? Well, I found out that it saved a draft automatically, unlike the old way where it would prompt me to do I want to. It did it for me. So there could be some changes depending upon what program. But if we press Alt F4, it closes the program. So we'll go back to the start screen and we'll relaunch that back into the main screen. So that's Alt F4. And of course we can go to the usual Control Alt Delete. You'll see it brings up the lock screen and switch user and all that. In the lower right hand corner it's the power shutdown menu as usual for Control Alt Delete. You can do that. Now for navigating your start screen itself, there's a couple commands you should know. First of all, you can minimize the start screen by pressing this little minus sign down here, and you can see that you can have, if you have a whole bunch of sections over here, you can be able to see them all. While we're here, you can see you can scroll between sections using your arrow keys, and when you hit enter, you jump out to that particular section. Very helpful if you have a bunch of different sections. But more helpful is the control caret keys, and they show you can switch between different sections. So again, if you have 7 or 8 out there, rather than using the mouse to use the scroll bar that will be down here to scroll until you get to it, you can quickly jump tab, tab, tab. Of course, you can scroll one at a time using the arrow keys and pretty quickly get over to the top 2. There's a couple others, that you can do, but these are probably the ones that help you out the most in navigating your start screen without a mouse and without a touch screen. They really can improve your productivity.